All right, what up, everybody? This is Mike from Mixtape Pros, mixtapepros.com. I wanted to make a real quick video today that outlines the exact steps that I think are the easiest ways to make sure that your session gets transferred from one machine to the other without losing any files and keeping the smallest file size possible. I've seen a lot of videos out there, and I feel like nobody's really broken it down to the exact steps. So check this video out. I hope it helps all of y'all out. I've seen a lot of people run into problems with this, so hopefully it should clear that up. Follow these steps, and you shouldn't have anything to worry about. So let's check it out. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up an example session. And right here I've got one that's called Dedicated. It's got a stereo instrumental and some vocal tracks. But we're also seeing it's got some automation, and there's been some editing that's been done as well. And a lot of times if you're working from home, you'll kind of usually get I found a lot of clients get like a relative mix that they want to go with, and then they kind of want to upgrade a little bit and send it to a mixing engineer. But they don't want to lose some of these ideas that they've had. So let's say, here looks like you got a automation on some delay, so it's going to trail off, which is cool. But the issue is that, your engineer might not actually have the same plugins that you do. So if you send it over like this, they're going to get it, and none of that stuff's going to be there anyway, because those plugins aren't going to be there. And also, they might be able to get to that same effect, but using a little bit higher quality equipment. So you don't want to confine them to using the same method that you did. So I would always suggest send your engineer a blank slate. And that's what we're going to work on making today. Now, if you want to send these ideas that you have, make a bounce down. Just send a bounce down, maybe an acapella bounce down or something like that just highlights the effects that you want. And they can get that bounce down, and then they can work towards getting what it is that you've already gotten using their equipment. So today we're going to work on getting that blank slate. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to protect this file. We want this to be our recording session. This is going to be our session that we can always go back to. This is how it would look like straight out of the studio. So we're going to leave that as it is, because just in case we want to go back and take another listen to a different take or something like that, it's still going to be here. So to do that, we're going to go to Save As. And then we're just going to name it something different, like Dedicated Mix. So that'll distinguish it from the original recording session. So we save that. Now if you look up here, you see we're working with Dedicated Mix. So now that other one is safe. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to get rid of all of the editing. So get rid of all of that automation. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through and get rid of all of these plugins. Now you can do that really quickly, but with a little shortcut. Hold down Alt. Click on this right here and go to no insert, and boom, all of the ones in that slot are now gone. Kill that one on the master fader, and then do the same thing with the second slot. Boom, now that's gone. And then on the third slot, boom, now they're gone too. Same thing with the sends, knock them out, and just knock them out. Alright, so now you've gotten rid of all of your sends and all of your inserts and all your plugins. So now you just need to get rid of the tracks that were using those. So we're just going to delete these. And now we're looking at, this is pretty much what you want your mixing engineer to see. He just has basic audio files, and he can pretty much open this up and get started. Another thing that's not really in this session, but a lot of times people will route to stereo audio buses. I would always suggest, just go ahead and hit up your main outputs of your tracks, and set them all to the output of analog 1 and 2. So everything's just going to the master fader, so nothing's bust anywhere that that might not transfer to their machine. So now that we've got that done, we're going to knock down this file size. So in order to do that, we're going to click this arrow over here, and as you can see, there's a lot of different regions over here. These are all just at this point just stacking up the file size, and some of these are different takes. Some of these are, different versions of different things that we might not even see at this point. So to get rid of those and not include those on the in the session, we're going to click this arrow and select the unused. Now you can also select unused audio except whole files, which would basically keep even the audio files that are referenced with tiny little chops, like a lot of these different tiny chops or whatever. That'll keep all of those as well. So I like to just select unused, because at this point we're already looking at everything that we need to send the engineer, and you always want to just send the engineer only what he needs, not extra stuff. You don't want him digging through old takes. You need to pick the best takes. So once you do that, then you can just go to clear, and then the dialog is going to pop up, and it's going to ask you if you want to remove them from this session or you want to delete them from this session. And at this point, we're working still within that same folder as the original recording session. So if we deleted these files, then we would actually delete the same files that the recording session is referencing. So we just want to remove them. Now, once that's done, you can see there's a lot less of them now, but we can get that down even smaller. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start saving the copy. So in order to do that, we're going to go to File, and then we're going to go to Save Copy In. And then this dialog pops up. Now you should be aware of your sample rate and your bit depth. I'm pretty sure it pops up with already the same values that the session already has. But if not, again, you should just be aware of what these values are in any session anyway. And then what you're going to focus on is the items to copy. Now, if you click this, items to copy audio files, that basically tells Pro Tools, hey, take all of my session data, copy all of that, but also these audio files that I'm referencing, no matter where they are, whether they're on the desktop or in the audio files folder, I want you to grab them and put them in this new folder that I'm about to create. So that gets rid of all of the issues that a lot of people have sometimes where they'll have like maybe the beat on the desktop and then a bunch of audio files from the vocals in the actual Pro Tools session folder. But when you send it over, the beat's still sitting on the desktop. It didn't get included. So this fixes that problem all the time. So in order to knock this file size down even more, we're going to click on this, which is the main playlist only. Now what this is this says that all of those extra playlists that I might have, extra playlists on the lead vocal track or anything that's not in this window, this main playlist window right now, anything that's not there, just, get rid of it. Just don't include it. Don't include it with this new folder. So once we click that, that's just going to give us only the things that we need in this main window. So we click that, hit OK, and then we just save it to where we want to. And I'm just going to save it to the desktop. It's going to do a little bit of processing, and boom, we're good to go. Now, before we send this out, we need to make sure that everything is there. So we're going to close the session. I'm going to save it. And then we're going to take a look at what we created on the desktop, which is this folder. Now, if we take a look at this folder, we're going to open up, and we're going to see that you have two things. You have a copy of the actual session, which, as you can see, it's the mix session, and then you have an audio files folder. Now you open that up, and as you can see, there's only a few audio files. Only the ones that you needed in there are in there now. So there's only 16 files in this thing, which is awesome, and it totals up to be only 143 megabytes. So that's perfect. You can send that back and forth all day with no problem. So to be sure we got everything good, let's just open up the session. And let's see. Boom, everything's there, everything's perfect. It looks exactly like it did whenever it left your machine and pulled over to another person's machine. So that's exactly what we're going for. That's what a mixing engineer wants to see, in my opinion. All right, so now that we've got that done, we can close the session out again. And if you're going to prep it for sending, you can just use any zip file, any zip archiving tool or whatever that you want to use. I use WinRAR, and I'll just make a quick zip file. It's only going to take a second because you're only looking at 143 megabytes. So as soon as that's done, all you got to do is send that zip file, the zip file over to your engineer, and boom, you're ready to go. And he can open up that zip archive. He can, click on the session, and everything's right there for him. All right, so I hope that helps out everybody. If you just follow those steps, then you won't have to worry about any more orphan files getting left over. You won't have to worry about file sizes that are 30, 50 gigabyte sessions going back and forth. It really streamlines the process. So I hope that helped everybody out. Next time we're going to talk about how to make full-length audio files that can go from one DAW to another DAW with no problems at all. So subscribe to our channel, and if you got any questions or comments, leave them in the section below, and I'll get back at you. All right.